I'm extremely honored and I feel very happy to be here for this wonderful occasion when so many candidates have qualified who've been trained and readied by this academy to take the civil service examinations. So congratulations and all very best to you. I would first want to give a disclaimer. The 3-minute restriction was not mine. I would have loved to hear it myself. I would have honestly loved to hear each one of them myself. A lot has been said, so I'm not sure if I really will add anything more valuable. All the C's, 6 plus 4 C's, which were mentioned, very important. May not be possible to follow all the 10, but at least you should choose and make a practice of, adhering to some of the C's. And experience spoke when Ambassador Tirumurthy mentioned what it is to be in a career of service. And he was all positive, but I want to bring in an element of being a bit of a cynicist. It is very easy to fall into a temptation of, small tantalizing things which come before us, and we think, okay, it's all right, who's going to see me? After being in the administration for now close to 11 years, the bureaucracy in India, Ambassador Tirumurthy should pardon me, the bureaucracy in India is one which is very steely, but is wonderfully networked to know who's doing what. It is they who run the system for themselves. They know who's the officer, who's young, who's doing brilliantly well in a remote corner of India where he's running the district administration. They equally know who among the newcomers is creating trouble for himself. So at no point in time, I think you should have a feeling that you're too far away from Delhi and therefore you can do what you want. No, the system is damn efficient in keeping an eye on each one of you all. Just as political parties keep an eye on each one of us political workers. But more than the political parties, the bureaucracy is very efficient to keep meticulous record of every year of what you do and what you don't and what you do which are not supposed to be done. So whilst ethical practices are something which I'll appeal, saying you should adopt ethical ways of doing things, be honest, be good in your service, and integrity is of high value, which Ambassador mentioned. But we should be clear that CCTV cameras are not in the common man's streets. It's even within the hallways of bureaucracies. So please do not for a moment fall for any temptation. You're all proud officers of a glorious service. India's bureaucracy is one of the finest in the world. We are very sparingly provided for, because I see when I go abroad, a delegation where we would sit to have a bilateral meeting. India goes with frugal, absolutely shoestring budget in the sense of number of people who come, the domain experts who sit with the minister to negotiate. Whereas, let us say, a Chinese or an American or any one of the Western G7 countries, the top 7 countries, they would have at least 30-35 people. At the table with the minister, let us say 4, behind them 10, even behind them another 20, all helping with papers and that little additional value for your negotiation. So the bureaucracy there is awash. You don't have a dearth of people, whereas Indian bureaucracy is very frugal. You accompany yourself with about 3 or 4 top bureaucrats to talk, and they will be absolutely endowed with all the facts. They're backed with data, they're backed with institutional memory, and therefore your teams perform as much as anybody else. Win or lose, it's okay. So what it calls for is absolute being in control of your job. Make your teams work for you, and be sure that at any point in time you are asked to speak. Nowadays, in fact, I'm sure till before 2014, a regular Prime Minister level interface with the district level officer was never thought of. Prime Minister Modi brought that in. Pragati is a program which Prime Minister sits and does with the district administration. So a junior level officer who's just posted in a district directly speaks with the Prime Minister about what he's doing in his district and how he's taking his district forward. So you're not very cut off from the headquarters. You're in fact talking and negotiating with the Prime Minister, saying, my district needs this, this is where my district is going, I'm unable to do or I'm able to do. So today, a bureaucrat who gets clearance and gets into the service, has his first posting, is going to be engaging with the Prime Minister directly, once in a month. Of course, there is a random selection done, but you're engaging with the Prime Minister directly. Technology has enabled that. So you should be tech savvy, you should have your district well endowed, and if you're posted in the foreign service, you have to do as much and more, because you're the only flag holder there. An entire team will have to work, whether it is matters related to trade, whether it is matters related to strategic affairs, whether it is defense. Just imagine the scope of operation. So I would think what is important for you is, as much as you are a master of so many things, you should have an area specialization. Because as ministers, where we are filling up the annual records of your performance, question is asked about which area is this person specializing in and where do you think he'll be better deployed. Most often I find it very difficult, because all right, you're jack of all trades, but I can't see that one trait which is so outstanding in you that I can put you, yes, nothing better than this person for, let us say, trade analysis or economy or finance or social welfare programs. Specialization is a very critical thing even after you get into the service. It's not the end all. You've gotten in, yes, you've gotten in. Don't think that this is the story's end and you are there for life. Don't be there for life as a burden for the Indian taxpayer. You're there for life to make a difference to the taxpayer. And therefore, there are quite a lot of things I can say, but I don't know how many of y'all are chosen for one or the other service. I was, just as I was coming, I thought I should talk to the DOPT secretary and get some data which will be useful for people who are here, because DOPT is the one which takes care of personnel and training. I was very curious to know how many people from Tamil Nadu get into the service, what is the scope, because Shankar's academy is training. Should they train more? Should they train less? I thought if it is of use, I thought I'll give you some information. This one thing I'll say both in English and Tamil, because there's media. Since 1950, 679 officers domiciled in Tamil Nadu. I'm being clear about the word domiciled in Tamil Nadu. They could be probably speaking any other language, but they are domiciled here. 679 officers have been allocated into the IAS since 1950. And current set, where the civil service exam 2024, 1,109 are the total number of candidates, of whom 53 are domiciled in Tamil Nadu. And the process of service allocation, are you getting this cadre, that cadre, you're going this state, this state, that's happening. So I don't have the current picture of how many from the 24 are going to which state. But as it is, I'm told that between 2011 and 2024, 915 people have been selected from Tamil Nadu for the civil service. Not just IAS, not just IFS, not just IPS, but also other IRS and so on. So the number are these. But the number is not big, if you ask me. தமிழ்நாட்டிலேருந்து இப்போ வரைக்கும் 915 பேர் 2011 ஆரம்பித்து இப்போ வரைக்கும் சிவில் சர்வீஸில் செலக்ட் ஆகிருக்காங்க. ஐஏஎஸ்ஸாக இருக்கட்டும், இன்னும் மீதி குரூப்ஸாக இருக்கட்டும். ஐஏஎஸில் மாற்றோன்னு பார்த்தோம்னா 1950 ஆரம்பித்து 1950 பார்த்து இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் 679 பேர் ஐஏஎஸ் ஆகிருக்காங்க. One thing about Tamil Nadu and Tamil Nadu assigned officers. This state, and I have grown, I was born, I was educated, educated till my collegiate education here, and then I went to JNU. This state has always had very high quality officers. Very high quality officers. And if anything, if you're assigned to some states, it's not at the cost of saying other states are useless. But some states, when you belong to that cadre, have a natural advantage because they've had predecessors who have done so well. For instance, in Tamil Nadu, you've always had finance-related experts being developed here through their IAS. IAS officers in Tamil Nadu gradually grow into area specializations as finance. Finance ministry today, last year or year before, subsequent to superannuation of some officers, new people, have always had the benefit, the central government has always had the benefit of service officers coming from Tamil Nadu cadre who do extremely well in finance. So there are states where when you're assigned, you have a culture of officers, hand-holding one another and building that trait. The current cabinet secretary, who has been an expert in finance, and in Tamil Nadu also, has come in through that route. And he's dominated in terms of planning, financial planning, execution, and so on. So for each one of you all, I don't know today, there was a time when I was young, there were not very many academies. Newspapers were the biggest source of learning. You would read a paper, and of course I can take the name of then the paper, not now that paper, but I'm not getting into that politics. There are papers which stood for high quality reading. You read the editorial of that paper, you would sure shot be an authority on understanding what are the nuances in that subject. So at homes we used to be said, oh, read that paper, you'll get better informed. But of course today, and at that time, there used to also be these weekly magazines which would come, called competition review, competition success review, something like that. So they would pose issues which are very important for the service examination, and they will also give you textual narratives which you'll read and prepare yourself. But today all that is taken over by academies, and therefore they are making up for quite a lot. And therefore some of the newspapers have gone back to explaining things weekly. An explainer, why is this, what is this, is that meaning this, that. A paper should do its job, and doing that job, writing about topics, you're here to learn about it. But no, today we are having easy explainers. They are becoming competition success reviews. That's not the area. So there are so many things which made for the fodder with which your thought processes worked, and you could go competently sit there, not only write the exam, but also face the interviews. Today everything is so tailor-made, and never mind, you still qualify and come, but post that is where the challenge of learning is, according to me. You've gotten into the service, what are you learning there? And today I'm so happy that Government of India, Prime Minister Modi sat through the session to create that Mission Karma Yogi. One of the best things which has happened to Indian bureaucracy. And through that Mission Karma Yogi, today you're able to get information about your service, about how it has to be improved, how technology is being brought in, and so on. And there are online training sessions which every bureaucrat is made to take. You can take it at your pace, you can take it while driving back from home to work or work to home. And therefore these kind of enablers for bureaucrats are also being put in place, I think these will help your career to be built up. And above all, one thing which I tell the revenue service people who come under my ministry is, what are we doing with taxpayers? Earlier, they used to come sit with the assessing officer, file, they bring the chartered accountant and make their explanations and so on. Today, it's all faceless. It's all, you can fill your own forms. You don't even need a chartered accountant up to a certain level of income because you can self-authorize it. So technology has come in the place of the assessing officer, but he's there still, he's doing his job. So when technology comes in place, what is that information I need to get from the assessee? I can always bring in an Infosys or a Wipro or a TCS and say, get me a system done, this should be used by the taxpayer. But when that happens, actually a revenue official's requirement doesn't get met. Technology builds that system, somebody files it in, and assessee is all right. No, the assessee says, hey, but you're asking me this question later. There's no column there. There's no drop down which I can use to enter my data. So other than being an IRS officer, you need to have knowledge of not just the revenue requirements as per Income Tax Act or GST Act. You should know how software has to get you the information that you need from the taxpayer. You will have to design it for them. They'll do the technical bit. So you are there not as just a revenue officer to say, I'm here to collect tax. You also should know what are the instruments through which you will have to collect the tax. And once the data comes, and again, all of us talk, right? At one point in time, it was the oil which was the big thing. Now it's the data which is the big thing. You have mountains of data which gets collected. But how do you use that data? And I must credit the current generation of young IRS are doing brilliantly well. They're using IoT. They're using all kinds of techniques to see where the evasion happens. He will say this person is evading this much. Or he's whitewashed money here. He's bringing in money which is getting laundered. The story just opens up. It's like magic. It just so is impressive. It's like a web, spider's web. You touch one fellow, it automatically takes you to 50 others. You should be able to play around with these technology which is available for you. So qualifying is just the first step. You have so many ways in which you can stand out in your service as different from the other because you're doing so much more self-learning. You're using technology. You're able to bring the team to do meaningful work. So I won't take more time, but I think this is the first threshold in your career. And after that, how you fit yourself in. I'll give you one final example. Finance Ministry it is which coordinates for the states to get funds from the multilateral institutions all over the world, World Banks, ADBs of the world. But we don't do it all for ourselves. It depends on the state. One state would want one particular project, another would want a completely different one, but all of them will want funds from abroad. They come with a proposal, but is it tailored to meet the requirements of, let's say, World Bank, or let's say ADB, or let's say JICA? No, most of them do not have the capacities for creating a globally acceptable format. But some states have it and have it so well entrenched into their system that when an application comes from some states, it is so easy to pass through and it goes to the board and it's very easy for us to go defend it there and get that money within a short time. But it's not the fault of another state which doesn't have that kind of an official. So if their officers are not so well endowed, that state lags behind. Money is available for everybody. But the states who are more efficient in this are able to quickly process their whole system and the state benefits out of it periodically. There are times when I sit and say, hey, hasn't this state got more than proportionate quantum for themselves at the cost of somebody else? It is made or unmade by the officers who are sitting there. So you serve the cause of your state better if you're very well trained, equipped. Talk to your batchmates, talk to your somebody, and understand how you have to project your state's projects and needs. So there is so much depending on you. But just because there's so much depending on you, please don't compromise on values. Indian bureaucracy should not be the cause for India's once upon a time it was looked at as most corrupt place. I'm not saying entirely due to bureaucracy, but most corrupt place was the impression. I think at least the political executive has made conscious effort to get out of that image. And I can for sure say under Prime Minister Modi, corruption is the one big thing which has been just kept far away, miles away, doesn't come anywhere close to the administration. If the political executive has achieved that, I would want the bureaucracy, the executive, to show that they are capable of doing it, and young officers are the ones who should stand out to say, I'm here to serve and I will serve with just what I get, and you're, with due respects, you're paid very well. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and all the very best to all of you.
Thank you so much for the words of wisdom, ma'am. நிஷ்காம கர்மா என்று பகவத்கீதையில் ஒன்று உண்டு. போர் செய்வது வீரனின் கடமை, வெற்றி தோல்வியை சமமாக ஏற்று எந்த பலனும் எதிர்பாராமல் போர் செய்வதே வீரனின் கடமை. இப்போது அவ்வாறு போரிட்டு வென்ற யுபிஎஸ்சி மற்றும் டிஎன்பிஎஸ்சி வீரர்களை சிறப்பிக்கும் நிகழ்வு.
Now we request our Honorable Finance Minister to felicitate the achievers of our Academy of UPSC 2024. Please do the honors, ma'am.
Candidates, please be ready as per the order. So first, we would proudly welcome All India Rank 28, Rishabh Chaudhary. All India Rank 28, Rishabh Chaudhary. The next one, All India Rank 41, Sachin Basavaraj Guttur. And then they